What's up, everybody? I am Brian Jester, co-founder here at Occupy Fantasy, single game $1 million winner, here with the third video in our divisional round playoff installment. Single game showdown advice, lineup advice, NFL DFS picks, both FanDuel and DraftKings. This time it is the Chiefs and Texans matchup for Sunday afternoon. Be sure to subscribe if you're not already by clicking that subscribe button below to make sure you get all of our latest videos. So, this video in particular, compared to the Ravens-Titans, compared to the Vikings and 49ers, is going to be a little bit shorter because it is a much tougher slate, and we are recommending not a ton of allocation for this slate because it's very tough. And every which way you look, there are potential pitfalls. So let's start with low risk. And actually on both sites, if you are playing 50-50s, double-ups, head-to-heads, you can get there by using two quarterbacks, two running backs like we normally recommend. However, these two teams make it difficult because if you go, let's just say we go with the both quarterbacks like we like to do. Let's go Mahomes, Watson, Damian Williams, who's the lead back for the Chiefs, and Carlos Hyde, who's getting more red zone touches than his backfield mate Duke Johnson. Now, 2,800, that's not a ton left over. We can rearrange some captains to make this work. But the problem here is we are leaving three very high volume guys out of the mix. Tyreek Hill, who, even though 5 to 8 targets per game, we know those are high value targets with his average depth of target. DeAndre Hopkins, 8 to 13 targets projected. And then Travis Kelce, 5 to also 13 targets potentially. So by leaving those guys out, it's very difficult, and pinpointing which one is in the best spot. A lot of their median projections are similar, and although you can lock up all the touchdowns this way by putting two running backs, two quarterbacks, if one or two of those receivers or tight ends have a big game, you're likely beyond the cash line. And the same goes for FanDuel. And these types of slates with these types of teams make it really difficult to play cash games, low-risk contests. Because here you can do the same thing. Mahomes, Watson, Damian, as you'll notice, we literally skip over DeAndre Hopkins, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill to get to these guys. Leaves us 5,500 left. We can fit in a scrub, or we can, drop down from Hyde to a kicker or Duke Johnson. Very possible. So maybe if you play, if you can find a contest with inexperienced players, sure, you can go this route. But again, you're leaving a lot of risk by leaving these three guys off the table. All right, let's talk about high risk, which is where you'll play your 1, maybe 2% allocation. Try to get some satellite tickets. The Super Bowl GPP is out for both FanDuel and DraftKings. $9 for FanDuel, $10 for DraftKings. Satellites are out as cheap as 10 cents on DraftKings. I think 25 cents on FanDuel. So all bankroll sizes can try to pick up tickets for the big Super Bowl GPP. And for these tough slates like this is probably your best bet to go satellite ticket hunting. All right, real quick, before we talk about high risk, we should probably talk about the injuries in this game. Will Fuller, who has missed the last couple of weeks with a groin injury, missed time earlier in the year with a hamstring injury. He is tentatively expected to play. Now, we are recording this Saturday afternoon, but all sources say he's going to play. And, if you do some tweaking to our underperforming receivers list, which looks at players who have gotten a lot of opportunity but haven't performed, Will Fuller, if you look at just his last 3 full games that he's played, he meets the criteria, and he's one of the better receivers of the group if that's the case. Because weeks 12, 13, and 15, the last 3 weeks that he's played at least 75% of the snaps, he's earned 20 targets, just 4 behind DeAndre Hopkins in that span, but 298 air yards. Somehow, only caught 13 of those 20, 0 touchdowns, so certainly underperformed his box scores. Now, if he can get back to his normal role, and we think he can, at least get those high-value downfield targets, he makes for a great play. And in a game where the total is 51 points, this has moved up from the opener of 49 and a half, and decent weather expected. Only game over that 47-point mark. You want to play pass catchers and tight ends in your captain and MVP spot, especially on DraftKings. And Fuller is a great DraftKings and even FanDuel high-risk MVP. Now, I'm talking super high risk because of his price tag and the uncertainty with his injury. Two other injuries. Darren Fells, let's pull him up here. I think he's 6K on FanDuel. Officially questionable. His running mate Jordan Akins is out. He didn't travel with the team. Darren Fells, report just came out that he is going to play. He was added late on the injury report Friday, but he's going to play. Ran a ton of routes, played a ton of snaps, saw a good amount of targets last week with Akins out of the lineup. Should be the same this week. Fells offers some decent upside for his position and his price on both sites. Fells is a great guy, especially on FanDuel. You notice his price tag here, 6K. One of those perfect guys where if you go Mahomes or Watson in your MVP spot and you need to differentiate your lineup by leaving $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 left over, Fells is a perfect guy in that 6K range that can catch a touchdown and get you over the hump doing that. I think that is it for injuries. Any other 6K guys down here? We're looking at McCoy, potentially. We know Damian Williams has been the lead back, but we don't know if McCoy is going to get any increased touches in the first round of the playoffs. Mecole Hardman, 8K. But again, these are guys 7 to 8K. Nobody really in this 5 to 6K range, which makes it tough because we love playing quarterbacks at the MVP, even in high-risk contests on FanDuel. But again, you really only want to do that if you can differentiate by cheaper guys. And there aren't really guys like that. So we'll probably have to go with, there's 4 main guys we like for that are non-quarterbacks for both DraftKings and FanDuel as MVPs, captains. That's DeAndre Hopkins, obviously big target share. Tyreek Hill, explosive. Travis Kelce. And then Will Fuller, who is 8K here on FanDuel. Huge bargain. Should go really low owned at the MVP spot. But again, this is what makes this slate tough, even on DraftKings. Guys like Mahomes, who can spread the ball around, guys like Watson, who can use their legs to provide fantasy value, can end up the optimal captain decently often, and they'll be popular. And if they become the captain, there's going to be a ton of splits at the top of the contest. So at least on FanDuel, there's really not a way to differentiate from using those guys in your MVP, so it makes it tough. Just go really light, play those wide receivers and tight ends as your MVP, and hope they're the highest score. DraftKings, same way. It's less scary here because of the salary multiplier, but again, there's a decent chance Mahomes and Watson end up as the highest scoring player on the slate and the optimal captain. And in that case, we probably won't be doing that well. So again, keep it really light. If you do play satellite ticket hunting, 100-player leagues, single entry or max GPPs, if it fits within your 1 or 2% of your bankroll, and use the 4 big target guys at receiver: Hill, Hopkins, Kelce, and potentially Fuller as well. So, all right, for more in-depth notes on this particular slate, as well as the other 4 games of the weekend, OccupyFantasy.com, our daily plug. And our Occupy model has every player ranked on the slate for both FanDuel and DraftKings. Be sure to subscribe if you're not already. Click that subscribe button below. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video. And leave a comment below. Ask a question. We'll get back to you before the slate starts at 3:05 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. All right, Brian Jester at Occupy Fantasy. Appreciate you listening. Good luck, and we'll talk to you soon.